I think President Trump would have more support domestically if there was one coherent, repeatable explanation of what we're trying to get done.
This video
Right now,
really highlights a growing issue that a lot of people are starting to pay attention to. What we're seeing here isn't just a one-time situation, it reflects a bigger pattern that's been developing over time. Make sure you watch this video till the very end, because what happens next might surprise you. And I want you to tell me in the comment section, what do you think is going to happen?
I do want to talk about the objectives of the war that both President Trump and the Trump administration have laid out over the past couple of weeks. When Operation Epic Fury was first announced at the end of last month, President Trump urged Iranians to take to the streets once the bombs stop falling and take over their government. But Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, he insisted that this is not a regime change war. Then President Trump listed a slew of objectives of the war, including destroying Iran's missile capabilities and its navy, ensuring they can never obtain a nuclear weapon, and prohibiting the regime from funding terrorist proxies outside of the country. I know you said that you want President Trump to concentrate on regime weakening, but do you think that he should change course, pivot perhaps, and announce that?
I think President Trump would have more support domestically if there was one coherent, repeatable explanation of what we're trying to get done. Right now, what I would say that might work better for him would be to focus on what Iran's doing to the world's energy supplies by creating this choke point at the Straits of Hormuz. I think the American public could relate more easily to the fact that you can't let a hostile power control the world's ability to have access to petrochemicals. Saying that over and over again, I think would be more compelling. From the very beginning, look, I have a new book out called Statecraft 2.0, and the essence of good statecraft is you marry objectives and means. But that means you really have to think through your objectives, and your objectives have to be very clear, and you have to frame them in an accessible, repeatable way. That's not only important for the American public, it would have been very important, I think, for the Europeans. It would have been smart from a statecraft perspective to go to the Europeans before the war began and said, look, I'm building up this force. We're seeing the Iranians try to reconstitute what they had. I thought after the June war that they would realize the costs of the path they were on. They haven't. And sooner or later, that's going to lead to a war. But they're certainly going to try to shut down the Straits of Hormuz, which is a collective interest of all of us to keep that open. It's an international waterway. 20% of the world's energy goes through it. About almost a third of the world's fertilizers come through it. We collectively have an interest. Had he gone to them and say, look, let's prepare now. If they try to do this, let's have in place a contingency plan for how we're going to keep it open. Coming to them only into the war after the Iranians basically have imposed what is effectively a closure, it's a little bit late. They weren't there on the takeoff. Now they're being asked to come in belatedly. We're not seeing them suddenly embrace what the president is asking for. Had you, again, had a very clear set of objectives, understood the means you have available to achieve them, understood the role that others might have to play beyond just the Israelis, that would have put us in a better position to deal with where we are with the Straits of Hormuz. Again, I'll come back to the end result of this cannot be that Iran still controls who can export and who can't.
As the speaker explains, there's a clear concern about accountability and transparency. Whether you agree or disagree with their stance, it's hard to ignore the tone and urgency behind their message. It shows that tensions are rising, and people are becoming more vocal about what they believe is right or wrong. What makes this even more interesting is how it connects to the broader political and social climate. We're in a time where information spreads quickly, and narratives can be shaped in real time. That means moments like this don't just stay in one place, they spark conversations everywhere. You can also notice how the audience or reaction plays a role. Sometimes it's not just about what is said, but how people respond to it. That reaction often tells us just as much about public opinion as the statement itself. At the end of the day, videos like this are important because they encourage discussion. They push people to think, question, and engage more deeply with what's going on around them. So whether you see this as a strong stance or a controversial take, one thing is clear: it's part of a much bigger conversation that isn't going away anytime soon. Thanks for watching this video. Make sure you keep watching more content like this. And don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates.